Let me discuss to you the lesson 4, which is all about the Filipino values and moral development, strength and weaknesses of the Filipino character. So, what is Filipino values first? It refers to the set of values or the value system that majority of the Filipino have historically held important in their lives. And for moral development also, it refers to the process whereby people form a progressive sense of what is right and wrong, proper and improper. So, like for example, a child may think, I don't want to be spanked, so I'm not going to hit my brother. So, this is, for example, for moral development. Kindly take note that this material is from Filipino Values and Moral Development, published by the Economic Development Foundations in November 1992. The study was sponsored by the Philippine Senate and was headed by Senator Leticia Shahani. It was conducted by a task force headed by Dr. Patricia Licuanan. The findings were based on bibliographic surveys and interviews and consultations with researchers and practitioners in the behavioral and social sciences, education and social welfare, journalists and social analysts, a nationwide survey of 2,000 respondents, and focus group discussions among residents of an urban poor resettlement area in Bagong Bayan, Dasmariñas, Cavite. From the study was developed a moral recovery program building a people building a nation submitted to the Philippine Senate. Strengths in the Filipino character. So the first one is pakikipagkapwa-tao, opening yourself to others and feel one with others with dignity and respect, deal with them as fellow human beings. So we must be more connected to other people and to have a respect also. In pakikipagkapwa-tao, we also have here the sense of fairness and justice, concern for others, ability to empathize with others, helpfulness and generosity, practice of hospitality, and sensitive to other feelings and trust. We all know that we as a Filipino have the ability to and character also to help each other. Pakikipagkapwa-tao means treating each other with utmost respect. This concept, in fact, is deeper than empathy since those engaging in pakikipagkapwa-tao are expected not only to understand others, but also should develop a sincere interest in their well-being. So why pakikipagkapwa-tao is important? Pakikipagkapwa, seeing ourselves as connected with others, lead us to be better relations within our families, schoolmates, or fellow workers. It leads towards concern for our community, our country, and for our environment, both social and natural. Let's move forward to the second one, which is all about the family orientation. We have here the Filipinos possess a genuine and deep love for family, sense of fairness and justice, concern for others, ability to empathize with others, helpfulness and generosity, practice of hospitality, and sensitive to other feelings and trust. We also have here the sense of family results in a feeling of belongingness and rootedness in a basic sense of security. Why family-oriented is important? Strong family orientation leads to closer bonds and supportive relationships in all areas of life. It is the quality and nature of our real relationships that are the most important. Let's move forward to the third one, which is the joy and humor. Filipinos have a cheerful and fun-loving approach to life and its up and down, pleasant disposition, a sense of humor, and propensity for happiness that contribute not only to the Filipino charm, but also to the Filipino spirit. We laugh at those we love and we hate. We tend to make joke about our good and even bad fortune, to smile even in the most trying of times. Because Filipino has a spirit of masayahin, a spirit of joy not only for self but a burn with design within all Filipinos that those around them also feel this joy. That is why I am proud to call the Philippines as my home. Emotional balance and optimism, healthy disrespect for power and office. Optimism is a helpful or positive outlook in the future, yourself, and the world around you. It is the key part of the silence, the inner strength that helps you get through tough times. The fourth one is about flexibility, adaptability, and creativity. Productivity, innovation, entrepreneurship, equanimity, and survival. We all know that Filipinos has a lot of strategy in life just to live longer in this world. Like for example, Filipino can easily get money by dealing some foods in the supermarket. They are also creative, resourceful, quick learners, can improvise and make use of whatever is at hand in order to create and produce, accepts change, adapts to life in a part of the world, in the ability to make new things out of old scraps, creative and cultural sphere. And also, Filipino are very creative, especially when it comes to those things that can be recycled. Just like, for example, those plastics that they turn into a bag and they can deal it with other people to have or to get some money. The fifth one is about hard work and industry. We have the capacity for hard work given proper conditions to raise one's standard of living and to possess the essentials of a decent life for one's family. We are also willing to take the risks with jobs abroad and while there to work at 2 or 3 jobs. The result is productivity and entrepreneurs heap for some. Like no matter kind of work Filipinos do, they can go for it for their family even if it's hard as long as it is decent job. No matter what food is on the table, the Filipinos will live on it. The sixth one is about faith and religiosity. Our innate religiosity enables us to comprehend and genuinely accept reality in the context of God's will and plan. Religious expressions is very tangible, expressed every day. We relate to God like a human being, threaten, thank, ask, forgiveness, appease by pledges. Because Filipino believe to the call of the powerful one because through prayers they can tell anything for help. And also tragedy and bad fortune are accepted and some optimism characterizes even the poorest lives. And also related to bahala na, which may be considered positively as a reservoir of psychic energy, a psychological prop on which we can lean during hard times. This pampalakas ng loob allows us to act despite uncertainty. So let us just trust God as long as it is for the good of all, whether poor or rich. All Filipinos have trust and love for the Lord. The seventh one is about faith and religiosity. Our faith and daring was manifest at EDSA and other times in our history, seen in the capacity to accept failure and defeat. We recognize forces external to ourselves as contributing to how events in our lives turn out. The results of the Filipinos' faith are courage, daring, optimism, inner peace, as well as the capacity to genuinely, or just a successful one. And the last one in the strengths of the Filipino character is ability to survive. Filipinos have an ability to survive. Filipinos make do with what is available in the environment. Basic optimism, flexibility, and adaptability, hard work, and a deep faith in God. It is also manifested in the millions of Filipinos who bravely live through the harshest economic and social circumstances, what we might be able to do under better circumstances. So despite grinding poverty, many Filipinos survive. They even made a livelihood from garbage dumps. We have survived many invaders, oppressors, and natural calamities and have came out with hope and determination to carve out our existence anew. Filipinos also have an ability to survive which is manifested in our capacity for endurance despite difficult times and in our ability to get by on so little. Filipinos make do with this available in the environment. The survival instinct is related to the Filipino who bravely carry on through the harshest economic and social circumstances. Let's move forward to the weaknesses in the Filipino character. The first one in the weaknesses of the Filipino character is the extreme personalism. Filipinos view the world in terms of personal relationships, no separation between an objective task and emotional involvement. Like this, a sincere question may be viewed as a challenge to one's competence or positive feedback may be interpreted as a sign of special affection. We also tend to give personal interpretations to actions, like for example, take things personally. There is in fact also some basis for such interpretations as Filipinos are quite personal in criticism and praise. Personalism is also manifested in the necessity for the establishment of personal relationships before any business or work relationships can be successful. The second weakness of the Filipino character is the extreme personalism. We also tend to be uncomfortable with bureaucracy, with the rules and regulations, and with the standard procedures, all of which tend to be impersonal. Personal contacts are involved in any transaction, and these are difficult to turn down. Like we tend to ignore them or we ask for exceptions. Extreme personalism thus leads to the graft and corruption evident in Philippine society. Preference is usually given to family and friends in hiring delivery of services and even in voting. The third weakness of the Filipino character is the extreme family centeredness. So, excessive concern for the family creates an in-group to which the Filipino is freely loyal to the detriment of concern for the larger community and for the common good. And then excessive concern for family manifests itself in the use of one's office and power as a means of promoting the interests of the family factionalism, patronage, and political dynasties, and in the protection of being erring family members. Family members, it results in lack of concern for the common goods and it acts as a block to national consciousness. The fourth one is all about the lack of discipline. The Filipinos' lack of discipline is manifest in casual and relaxed attitude towards time and space, which manifests itself in lack of position and compulsiveness in poor time management and procrastination. We also have this being impatient and unable to delay gratification or reward, resulting in the use of shortcuts in skirting the rules. An aversion for following strictly a set of procedures, and this results in lack of standard, runners, and quality, the Pulusot syndrome, and info hardiness. The next one we have this being guilty of ningas kugon, like starting out projects with full vigor and interest, which abruptly die down leaving things unfinished. That is what we called as ningas kugon. And also, our lack of discipline often results in inefficient and wasteful work systems, violations of rules leading to more serious transgressions, and a casual work ethic leading to carelessness and lack of follow through. So, we should have discipline ourselves also. The fifth one is about passivity and lack of initiative. So, Filipinos are generally passive and lacking in initiative. There is a strong reliance on others, like for example, leaders, government, to do things for us related to our need for our strong authority. Filipinos tend to be complacent and there rarely is a sense of urgency about any problem. To easily resign to one's fate, Filipinos are thus easily oppressed and exploited. So there is a high tolerance for inefficiency, poor service, and even violations of one's basic rights in many ways. It can be said that Filipino took patient and long sufferings or matiisin. The sixth one is about colonial mentality. Filipinos have a colonial mentality which is made up of two dimensions. The first is a lack of patriotism or an active awareness and appreciation and love of the Philippines. And the second one is an actual preference for things foreign. The result is cultural vagueness or weakness that makes Filipino extraordinarily susceptible to the wholesale acceptance of modern mass culture, which is often Western. So, Filipino culture is characterized by an openness to the outside, adopting and incorporating the foreign elements into our image of ourselves, not built around the deep core of the Philippine history and language. So, the Filipino colonial mentality is manifested in the alienation of the elite from their roots and from the masses, as well as in the basic feeling of national inferiority that makes it difficult for Filipinos to relate as equals to Westerners. Thus, there is a preference for foreign fashion, entertainment lifestyles, technology, and consumer items and others. The seventh one is about kanya-kanya syndrome. So, Filipinos have a selfish, self-serving attitude that generates a feeling of envy and competitiveness towards others, particularly one's peers who seem to have gained some status or prestige. The kanya-kanya syndrome is also evident in the personal ambition and the drive for power and status. This characteristic is also evident in the lack of sense of service among people in the government bureaucracy. The Kanya-Kanya syndrome results in the dampening of cooperative and community spirit and in the trampling upon the rights of others. So the public is made to feel that services from these offices and from these civil servants is an extra per that is to be paid for. Last but not the least is about lack of self-analysis and self-reflection. So there is a tendency in the Filipino to be superficial and even somewhat flighty. So when the face to the serious problems, both personal and social, there is lack of analysis of reflection, like we joke about the most serious matters and this prevents looking deeply into the problem. There is no need to validate our hypothesis or explanations of things, thus we are satisfied with superficial explanations, solutions to problems. We tend to emphasize on form or maporma in Tagalog rather than on substance to be satisfied with rhetoric and to substitute this for reality. Rhetoric and endless words are very much part of public discourse. The Filipino lack of self-analysis and our emphasis on norms is reinforced by an educational system that is often more form than substance and a legal system that tends to substitute law for reality.